Acura's all-new ADX, a compact SUV that isn't just built for one thing, it's precision-crafted for everything. To escape the grind with available all-wheel drive. To go with your flow with available Google built-in.
Hey Google, turn it up.
Okay, turning up the volume. And crafted to be heard with an available Bang & Olufsen premium sound system. The all-new Acura ADX, crafted to match your energy. Acura, precision-crafted performance.
Take your vibes and go.
Google is a trademark of Google LLC.
El futuro tiene nada más que la confrontación.
Hey, welcome to You Don't Even Like This Show. I'm your host, Adam Todd Brown. I used to host a podcast called Unpopular Opinion, and that podcast was this podcast. But then everyone else in the world decided they liked the name Unpopular Opinion a lot too, so we changed the name to You Don't Even Like This Show. Each week, me and a couple of guests selected from a pool of the absolute sharpest minds the LA entertainment scene has to offer, use this here space to talk about whatever the hell we want. News, pop culture, politics, information, you name it, we talk about it. And sometimes my co-host Jeff May is here too. It's a blast. You're gonna love it. Hey everybody, welcome to You Don't Even Like This Show, a podcast about news, information, politics, tech, guns, knives, whatever we want to talk about. I'm your host, Adam Todd Brown. Joining me as co-host this week, my favorite co-host of all, no co-host, but I do have a couple of fantastic guests. Case in point, Sam Sweets is here.
Hi.
Sam, how's it going?
Good. Better than that voice. Sorry I did that.
Voice was fine. I'm sure a lot of people were into it.
Oh, okay, cool. Well, whatever you like.
Also joining us, comedian Harry Riley. How's it going, man?
Ahoy, ahoy, everyone.
We are in a pretty jovial mood today because we're talking about Elon Musk. And he just lost some shit last week. As we record this, it was as you listen to this last week. As we record this, just happened last night. Yeah. Elon Musk spent, I think the final total was around $25 million to try and swing the Wisconsin State Supreme Court election.
And we don't know how many teardrops.
Yeah, he failed so bad. Oh, so bad. And I love it. That makes me very happy. This happened yesterday as we record this, but last Tuesday as the episode goes up. And when I first decided to do this episode, I was pretty sure we weren't going to know the outcome of this by the time we recorded. But it was just one of those resounding victories where you just know before the night is out.
Yeah, it seemed like, no matter what, they would do the the voter fraud. This isn't real, even if they lost, because that was part of the whole deal with Wisconsin, right? That started Trump's eyeing Wisconsin was that they turned down him suing about votes there.
Right.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was one of the driving factors behind Trump and Musk getting behind this one Supreme Court.
And his weird little grudge, because he has so many grudges.
Yeah.
He's too old to have that many grudges.
I'm not a fan of a grudge holder.
Yeah.
Once I know someone's holding a grudge against someone, that tells me a lot about a person's personality. You should just be able to let shit go sometimes,
Yeah, and sometimes you can't help but still have a little thorn in your side about it. But if you are just so focused on your grudges and your perceived slights, it's just, well, first of all, it's just completely looking backwards and never forwards.
Yeah.
So you're running yourself into your own walls. But yeah, move on. Move the fuck on, dude.
I think in his case, the reason why he's like this is because, when you have a certain amount of money, you get everything you want.
Except your daddy's love.
Yeah, which is probably, he goes to his grave every day and cries on it. And I think this is what happens when you don't get what you want. You start to lash out in these ways. And so you basically just see a big old baby just lashing out at states, which is a weird thing, at an entire state.
Yeah. I do feel like that's one of the weird downfalls of we gave everyone a trophy generation is people didn't learn how to fail well. They didn't learn how to lose well. They didn't learn how to move the fuck on. They take it everyone's the goddamn Count of Monte Cristo out here with vengeance for any loss that they had.
Yeah, sometimes you just don't win.
Yeah.
Yeah, it fucking happens.
And the fact that Trump won Wisconsin in 2024 should tell all of his supporters exactly everything you need to know about that voter fraud shit. Like,
Yeah.
he barely won Wisconsin, which we'll talk about more later on. But I do think, and we'll talk about this more later also, this seems like an opening for Democrats because people clean fucking hate Elon Musk.
Oh, the Democrats have been gloating today already.
Yeah, I hope they are able to seize on this and use it to their advantage because,
Nah, they won't. That's not what they do.
yeah, they probably won't. But Elon Musk turned a lot of people off in Wisconsin. He thought it was going to be the opposite. I think he thought he was going to come in and throw all this money around to all these redneck yokels in middle America. And man, there was some backlash. And
Yeah.
good on you, Wisconsin.
Maybe it's the way that Republicans always assume that Democrats view, people like that. Like Democrats see these people as, low IQ, low education yokels and stuff. But it seems like that's what he was doing, by just throwing money and just being like, well, if I throw enough money and dumb shit at them, they're too stupid to realize what's actually what. And we'll have this in the bag. And it's good to see that it didn't work like that.
I was thinking about, so I was reading the Guardian this morning about it. And one of the gloats, because most of it is just people gloating or whatever on both sides. And I guess Charlie Kirk, who's a pro-Trump social media person,
Yep.
talking about this whole like dynamic, which I find ridiculous because neither party actually cares about these people. But they're like, we did a lot in Wisconsin, but we fell short. We must realize and appreciate that we are the low prop party now, which what the fuck does that mean?
Yeah.
We are the party of welders, waiters, and plumbers. We are the party of people who work with their hands, who shower before and after work. Like, wait, do rich people not shower? Like,
Yeah,
I don't.
that's weird.
It just, yeah, I was like, wait, I'm coming back to that because that made no sense. On the one hand, you're like, these are our people, while just insulting them and sounding so out of touch with even just human beings.
Yeah. And I think, like, for one thing, what does Charlie Kirk do at work that he's having to shower
I don't know. He's a social.
before and after? Me and him do the same thing. I don't have to shower all day if I don't want to. It's not like I'm breaking a sweat podcasting.
I mean, I will say as a bartender, you want to shower.
Yeah.
They always try to make themselves to be the exception to the rule. Everybody else is lazy and just, not hardworking. They're the only ones out there that's rolling their sleeves up to get these podcasts made. It's ridiculous. It's like you're trying to align yourself with like lumberjacks and shit. And it's like, sit down, stop thinking so highly of yourself.
I mean, the irony is those are the people that the Democrats should be appealing to, and then they don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Democrats should be doing a lot. And it seems like from the outcome of this election, one of those things should be, campaigning against Elon Musk more than campaigning against Trump. And yeah, we'll see if that happens. But
I mean, I have my own ideas about the Democrats' ineffectualness and it being actually tactical, personally.
Really?
I think the entire illusion is that there's a good side and a bad side with politics. I think they are the same side and they play this good side and bad side to keep us divided, to give us this illusion of choice when they're just the ruling class.
I 100% agree with that. I do feel like a lot of our politics is just wrestling shit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They benefit by fear-mongering Trump and making him this evil thing so that they can look like the good guy in comparison when they just had power for 8 years and did effectually nothing with it.
Yeah. And I mean, my personal theory about Trump and this particular Trump term is that the United States in general, both parties, want to do some Nazi shit, but they just want it to seem like this rogue bad actor got in office for a few years. And then when it's all over, we'll be like, well, sorry, all those immigrants died. No, we can't give Greenland back. It's just not that easy.
Yeah.
But Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez is president now. So,
I mean, yeah, Obama, they didn't do much for immigrants. They didn't do anything with deportation. If you look at like stats, Obama saved the banks after Wall Street.
Yeah.
There's no actual evidence that Democrats are anti-big business, except that they say it. I feel like it's mostly PR. I've come to this very disillusioned place. after this last election where I'm like, oh, they wanted Trump, like, because that helps them play this PR game where we get all riled up about all these things while it's business as usual for all of them.
All that said, though, I still want Elon Musk out of American politics.
I want him out of the country.
Yeah, I'd love to see him deported.
Yes, we should deport him.
That would be ideal. Send him to El Salvador first.
Yes.
And then, actually, no, I don't want to normalize that shit. Don't send anyone to fucking El Salvador unless they're from there and they want to go back, you know?
Yeah.
But so let's talk about how this all started, because I think just like with everything else Elon Musk does, there's some suspicious timing here that makes it seem like maybe he had another goal in mind.
What?
Yeah, if you can believe it. It seems like this started back in January. Brad Schimmel, a Wisconsin court judge who was running for that open seat on the state Supreme Court, Trump supporter, dressed up as Trump for Halloween last year. That much of a Trump supporter, which judges are supposed to be nonpartisan, or at least pretend to be. But this guy did not.
Didn't even try.
He said he believes Trump was, quote, screwed over by the Wisconsin Supreme Court in 2020 when they rejected Trump's lawsuit to throw out 200,000 plus ballots from the two largest Democratic counties in the state. He flew to D.C. for the inauguration, and not long after that trip, Elon Musk tweeted a thing about how the Wisconsin Supreme Court overturned a ban on absentee ballot drop boxes last year, and that it was, quote, very important to vote Republican for the Wisconsin Supreme Court to prevent voting fraud, end quote. That's an important side note. The voters of Wisconsin did codify that voter ID law into the Constitution, which that part sucks. But
seems like a weird thing.
Yeah, they've had it in place for a long time, like 10 years now. And they just now, it's going to be harder to repeal it. But it's also not that big of a change because...
Right, since they've already been working under that.
Yeah.
Anyway.
And for years. So even in 2020, when Trump lost Wisconsin.
So it's not going to actively change that much going on the ground.
And Elon Musk tweeted later that that was the most important thing. At least they did that. And it's like, shut the fuck up. We know you're lying. We know it.
PR. It's PR. It's not a lie. It's PR.
Right. Yeah.
It's spin. Yeah.
And so after Elon Musk tweeted that, Brad Schimmel obviously saw it because he said this at a GOP event early the following month. Quote, Elon Musk noticed this race a week and a half ago or so. I don't know if he's found his checkbook, though. And boy, did that motherfucker find his checkbook. As I was researching this, the number was $20 million that he and groups associated with him spent to support Brad Schimmel's campaign. An article I saw this morning put it closer to 25 million.
Is there anywhere to see where did he put it? I mean, clearly there's the ones he was like giving away super shadily directly to people. I'm just wondering where this money is going in a weird like way.
They did have a big canvassing effort where they flew a bunch of staffers into Wisconsin to go door to door. I don't know if that cost $20 million, but that's definitely part of it. Obviously, like attack ads.
If they were all getting Chipotle for lunch.
Right? Buying iPhones. There's a fun story in one of the articles we'll link to where one of these staffers who they hired to do canvassing shows up to someone's door to try and sell them on voting for Brad Schimmel. And this person had a Susan Crawford sign in their yard. She is the judge who won this election, who was running against Brad Schimmel. And this person comes to the door and the person who lives there is like, you see the sign in my yard, right? You know, you must be wasting your time. Like, you know who he's running against, right? And they were like, no, we don't have any idea. And so I think that probably turned people off more than anything when these people are coming trying to insert themselves into your election, but they don't really have any information about the person they're opposing.
Yeah, well, I don't know why they would fly people in instead of hire locals.
Yeah.
Who might know the people in Wisconsin, know how to appeal to them.
That sounds like a rich person thing.
You
Yeah.
have the money for plane tickets.
Yeah.
Maybe you got to kick back to your airline. Like, that's the thing I'm curious about is like how much of this spending on election is like also a weird way to funnel money into probably different businesses they own that run things like the plane tickets that they use staffers for, or printed the signs, like who owned that company? Like, how are we funneling money? Like, that's sort of where my mind goes.
Yeah, these numbers always feel like just made up numbers. It's like, really? $20 million for a Supreme Court? I mean, I'm not saying it's not important position, but that seems like a lot of money to do what? Make a bunch of 30-second ads and maybe a bunch of billboards and stuff. It seems like there's a lot of leakage going around somewhere.
Yeah.
It literally feels like money laundering, like mob style in a way for me.
Oh, yeah. That
Yeah.
wouldn't surprise me at all.
Or like how much of that are kickbacks that we're like literally paying people who we think are important, or people who say that they can influence groups of people, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw one statistic. There was more money spent on this state Supreme Court election than there was on an entire general election in England a few years ago.
Holy
Everyone involved spent, I think, 68 million on that election in England, and just this state Supreme Court election, both sides total spent like $90 million.
That's disgusting.
I mean, man, I'm like, okay, coming from a city where Hollywood is dying, and clearly there's a lot of money being spent on productions, these other productions, I'm like,
This whole thing with how much money we're putting into getting people elected, it just feels like this is the first thing people should be tackling. It feels like as soon as you involve this much money into the system, you will only get corrupt and shady people out of it.
Well, and the funny thing is, like, we've created this PAC system to prevent rich people from just influencing elections with their personal money. But now we don't even care about hiding who's in charge of the PAC.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't technically Elon that spent his personal money. It was his PAC.
Yeah.
But at this point, we don't care. We're not even hiding that the PAC is just a way for rich people, because they used to pretend that a PAC was
Legit.
And actually fundraising through donations and actually had a lot of people, you know, that it represented, you know, and they always have like those, you know, names that sell them really well, like People for American Rights, or, you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then you're like, oh no, it's just this guy's wallet. Like, that's what this whole PAC is.
Yeah. I think Elon Musk's PAC is just called America. It's just called America.
Yeah, like PAC for America PAC, or they all have those kind of names. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, super PACs have really upended elections in this country, because it just like it bypasses all of those limits that were put on how much money you can give a candidate. You can just now give unlimited money to the party, and then they funnel the money to the candidate. So it's like, why have the limits in place anyway if we're going to allow shit like that?
It's all banking loopholes. It's like they were written by the same dudes.
So let's talk about Susan Crawford a little bit. She won. I don't think it's actually Susan Crawford that any of these right-wingers cared about, even if Trump called her a radical left lunatic recently, as if being a Nazi lunatic is any fucking better. She's fought for abortion rights and against things like the voter ID law and Act 10, a measure passed about a decade and a half ago that stripped state workers of collective bargaining rights. I remember when that happened. It was a big fucking deal. There were all these teacher protests at the state capitol, but that is what Wisconsin gets for electing a Tea Party governor, like they did in the 2010s.
Yeah.
She was backed by all of the other liberal justices on the Wisconsin Supreme Court currently. She was getting that Soros money, of course, like any Democrat candidate does. But she also received contributions from the founder of LinkedIn, which, here's the thing. Is there a more innocuous social media network than LinkedIn?
No.
I feel like LinkedIn is the absolute spirit of what social networks are supposed to be.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? Like, what, like, do I have to use LinkedIn now? Is that like the safe space? Because like, clearly we can't do Meta, but I don't I don't want to go to Blue Sky. I don't know. I don't want to start a new thing.
I like Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Yeah, Blue Sky's good.
But then it feels like, they say Trump's going on Truth Social. And to me, I'm like, is Blue Sky just the opposite? Are we just creating two little echo chambers?
Sure, probably. But I don't know. I'm fine with an echo chamber right now. Because it's not like the Nazis are going to sell me on anything. We're done talking about it. Like, there's nothing the right is going to
I mean, I will say, just as a Jewish person whose family was killed by Nazis, I've seen plenty of Nazis in the Democratic Party too. So for me, it's like, I'm not putting that in one party. There's plenty of people that want to kill all the Jews anyway on both sides. So for me, it's like different flavors of Nazi, but like,
I'm just referring to the Nazis that are in power currently.
Yeah.
I mean, the governor of California is a little Nazi himself. Gavin Newsom just had Charlie Kirk on the first episode of his podcast.
Okay. All right. But my friends, the Doohickeys, by the way, did a great song about like, why the fuck does our governor have a podcast?
Yeah. Shouldn't he be doing governor shit?
Why, like, you're not even hiding the fact that you just want to be a celebrity and not, like, that's not governing.
And he's super duper pandering to right wingers. He had Steve Bannon on his podcast also.
Ew.
And
that's gross.
When he had Steve Bannon on, it was to talk about how the Democratic brand is toxic. And talk about not being self-aware. Like, yeah, it's toxic because of motherfuckers like you.
Yeah, you are the Democratic brand, right?
Yeah, like you are so emblematic of everything the Democratic Party is.
Well, this is just me, like the facade cracking. Like, of course, because they're all the fucking same.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it only ever was a brand.
Remember when Elon first got involved with Tesla and everybody was like, oh, he's the real life Tony Stark. And he had some goodwill going. That feels like the same thing with Gavin Newsom, where everybody was like, ooh, okay.
Yeah. And all these Democrats now that still are driving their fucking Teslas with little stickers on the back that said, I bought it before we knew about Elon. And it's like, no, bitch, we always knew. I always knew.
Yeah.
I've hated Teslas since the first rich guy took me in one, like pre-quarantine. And I was like, this guy sucks and he's a shitty driver and these cars are bad. And then I noticed everyone that drove them were shitty drivers. And I'm like, Teslas are the worst. And like, I've known the whole time. Oh, you didn't know? Also, now you do know, but emblematic of Democrats, we're not going to do an action. We're not going to change it. We're not going to sell the car. We're just going to put a little sticker on it that says, my bad. Don't judge me for what I'm doing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're not in a position to switch cars, that's going to be the thing. Also, if you do want to get rid of your Tesla, how much fucking more are you going to pay for a car in Trump's America?
Yeah.
Because of tariffs.
And
I
who are
mean,
you going to sell it to?
maybe this is time for Ford and Chevy to make their fucking move, man.
Yeah, Harry's right, too. Who are you going to sell that Tesla to? Although I don't doubt there will be rich people who are just so hungry to jerk Elon off, they'll go out and buy like 15 Teslas at a time.
Yeah, yeah.
So we should sell them to those. Do we still have monster truck rallies?
Oh, that would be dope.
I would love to watch a big old monster truck just like crush 15 Teslas.
Oh, I thought we were making the Tesla the monster truck.
Oh, no, that sounds terrifying because that thing will just like self-drive into the stands.
So one of the more unlikely endorsements that Susan Crawford got, and I think this goes a long way toward demonstrating just how much people don't like Elon Musk. She was not necessarily endorsed by, but well, I mean, I guess this is an endorsement. Retired circuit court judge Josanne Reynolds. She is a Republican who was appointed by former Republican Governor Scott Walker's bitch ass.
Thank you for using his full name.
This is one of her quotes in a New Yorker article that we'll link to. I'm not unfriendly with Susan, but we're not friends. I never shared a meal with her and never had a one-on-one phone call. End quote. So not a glowing endorsement so far, but she goes on. She's smart. She's hardworking. I believe that her temperament, her intellect, and her experience all bode well for her to be on our Supreme Court. End quote. And then she goes on to talk about how what really changed her mind or made her lean in Crawford's direction. She came home from a trip to Mexico to find all these commercials that Elon Musk and his PACs had financed where they were calling Susan Crawford Catch and Release Crawford because there was a case where someone was charged with child sex abuse and she gave the person a 4-year sentence. So Republicans were like, well, that's too lenient. And also, when that person got out of prison, he ended up living right by a school. And they were like, well, that's her fault too. And this Josanne Reynolds saw these commercials and was like, I've never heard that dumb shit until Elon Musk got involved in this election. She was like, Supreme Court justices don't hand out sentences. So that is completely irrelevant to what she would do on the Supreme Court. And prison wardens decide where a person lives after they get out of prison. So she didn't decide that. And she added this last quote. I had never heard about Catch and Release Crawford. It did not exist before Elon Musk and others began contributing a lot of money to this race. It's all very alarming. And the most alarming part is if you don't toe the line, they're coming for you and their resources are enormous. End quote.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
I mean, it just sounds like he handed a file with all of Crawford's cases in it to a PR person, said, go through this and find some dirt and something we can make a commercial about.
Yeah.
And they just had to really, like, it really shows she's probably got a really clean record if that's the best they could find.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, judges, there's a lot of like shade that they could be doing. And that's the best you could find. It's like, shit, I would vote for her if I was in Wisconsin. Like, shit, man, she's about her business. Fuck yeah,
Yeah,
man.
and because neither one has to do with actually her judgment at all, because she didn't do the sentence or the after stuff. So
yeah, it's not like she's sitting there going, and you shall live next to an elementary school. She's not, she has shit all to do with that. And if you know anything about the system, you know that someone else is taking care of this. So like we said earlier, they're trying to feed stupid information, thinking that stupid people will get it and vote accordingly. But that's not what happened.
well, and that's why it's PR. Like, if we can come up with a catchy rhyme,
Yeah. Catch or at least
that's
Crawford.
what we need.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Or at least some alliteration.
Yeah.
I bet they just fed it into ChatGPT.
Probably. Yeah. And also, I mean, it sounds weird because they're talking about child sex abuse, but if that's your argument, well, she only gave that person 4 years. Well, what was the crime though? Because there are degrees to any crime.
Yeah.
And I don't doubt that there are people getting 4 years for sex crimes that aren't of the same magnitude as other sex crimes.
But even besides that, like, then it all will also depend on things like how white was he?
Yeah.
Who was his lawyer that he could afford? Like, all those things go into sentencing of people will commit the exact same offense, but if they're, they have the right lawyer who can make a better deal, they're not using the public defender. Like, there's so many things that go into sentencing that are not at all about the crime.
Yeah, absolutely. And so this was one of the most controversial aspects of Elon Musk's campaigning in Wisconsin. A few days before the election, he made all sorts of news when he announced he was going to give 2 checks for $1 million each to someone. Because at first he tweeted that the checks would be given to people who'd already voted in the Supreme Court race. And you also had to have voted to get into the rally. This is a quote from Brendan Fisher, a campaign finance expert speaking to The New Yorker. Conditioning entry to this event and eligibility for the $1 million payout on whether someone has voted arguably violates Wisconsin law, which prohibits providing anything of value to induce a person to vote. End quote. And I think someone told Elon Musk that because he deleted his tweet.
Yeah, because it's illegal. I bet he thought if I don't say vote Republican and I'm just encouraging vote, then what? I'm just like, get the vote out. Yeah. I'm not telling you who to vote for, but then I bet someone's like, no, you can't pay them to vote at all.
Yeah.
Actually.
So he deleted his original tweet and then changed it to say that the rally was now open to anyone who signed his petition against activist judges and that the checks were going to be given out to 2 people, quote, to be spokesmen for the petition. I think the phrase you're looking for is spokesperson, Mr. Musk. Also, very funny, He held this rally in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
Oh.
Green Bay went for Trump in 2024. Susan Crawford won Green Bay by like 9 points. So Green Bay resoundingly rejected Elon Musk, even in the face of him offering them $2 million. And also $100 to anyone who voted.
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, Green Bay.
Forgot about that.
The one good thing the
You go,
Cheeseheads
Cheeseheads.
since getting rid of Aaron Rodgers, that bitch.
Yeah. So the Wisconsin Democratic Party did try to stop Elon Musk from handing out these checks. And the Supreme Court, like, either unanimously voted that it was fine, or I think they just refused to even take it up at all, which, again, should tell you how unfair and impartial they actually are. If even the Democrats in this moment were like, nah, what he's doing is actually not illegal. So how fucking unfair can the Supreme Court really be?
Yeah.
But that is the Republican
Because it does have
argument.
the liberal majority currently that they didn't want to lose, right?
Yeah. They had a 4-3 majority, and then one of the liberal justices stepped down. So it was 3-3 going into this election, and now it remains 4-3 liberal majority.
So if they were to look at it before the election, that would have been 3-3. So they probably were like, you're not going to accomplish anything by doing this anyway.
Yeah, exactly.
But I mean, shit, man, even if you're on the conservative side, don't you see? I think that they never think about future events. Like, all right, you don't vote for it now, or you reject it now. But what happens when there's a Democratic trillionaire that's giving out money to entice people to vote a certain way? Now you're going to wish that you nipped this in the bud earlier, because this is how these things are going to work. It always seems advantageous to you until the other party gets a hold of it and uses it for their ends.
Yeah.
And I don't understand how they work like that.
Because, I don't know, then it might also impact, I don't know, them getting money for their campaigns or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Democrats just over the past, since Trump started campaigning back in 2015, they've just really been coasting on this, oh, well, we're not Trump, so we're going to win. And eventually that stopped working. And now they're going to have to figure some new shit out.
I mean, did it work? Because as soon as he touched down, it seemed like he was running away with everything. And the only thing that stopped him was a half-dead guy.
Yeah, I mean, Biden did win in 2020.
I don't even know how that happened. Because
None of us wanted it, though.
he looked like an extra from Weekend at Bernie's, and we elected this motherfucker. We were like, we'll take the half-dead guy over the Cheeto.
That was for me, like, look, and I did vote for Kamala just so that I am allowed to bitch about this. But, I did the fine, I'll vote for Biden because he's not Trump and we're so scared of Trump the first time. And then Biden went in and what? Did nothing.
Yep.
Well, he did exactly what a dead body would do.
He had all the stuff. That's why I'm like, I don't believe them anymore. What Democrats say they want or what they say they want to do. They don't want to do shit. They love shit how it is. They like their congressional earnings and their health care and their special status, but it's not PR. So they wanted Trump so that they can continue just being like, well, we're not him. And they don't have to have any pushback on the fact that they aren't anything and they don't do anything.
Yeah, we definitely need some sort of shakeup when it comes to political parties in this country.
Yeah.
As much shit as the United States in general talks about Venezuela, what a lot of people don't realize is we are where Venezuela was heading into the 2000s, which is for decades and decades and decades, Venezuela was ruled by two parties, dominated mostly by white men who would trade back and forth control of the country, but they had mostly the same goals. And they drove that country into the fucking ground.
Oligarchy, baby.
Yeah. And that is the regime people are fighting to put back in place in Venezuela, is that one that was rich white dudes who were beholden to U.S. interests. And the minute the people of Venezuela elected the first ever non-white president in Venezuela in 2003, the United States snapped. And we've been trying to topple that government ever since. And I think it's really telling that we haven't been able to. It leads me to believe that maybe the people aren't as unhappy with that regime as Western media might make it out to be. Far be it for me to imply that the United States would deal in propaganda of any sort. But, you know.
I mean, yeah, the view we have of everything internationally is the view through which it would benefit whoever in America is writing that and has power. Like, we don't, it amazes me the amount of my friends who, on the one hand, know now how American history, written by the victors, written by the white man, was certainly written in a way to present them well and give us a certain view of things, you know, to make us want to believe things. Yet we believe the history we're told about other countries, written by the same people, you know, like that we're getting an objective view.
Yeah, it is frustrating that people don't take that into account. We are out here telling lies on the world stage like anyone else. But I don't know, there's just always going to be a segment of this country that just inherently trusts the government. You see it in conspiracy theory shit when people like immediately reject anything that isn't the government's explanation. Oh, well, that's a conspiracy theory. No, you sometimes just need to question these motherfuckers.
I think that's like, then you get into the psychological loophole of cognitive bias, which the best way was explained to me is that is your mental immune system, right? This is why people will bend over backwards to justify things that you're like, how can you possibly, you know, I see it on both sides with different conspiracies, vaccines or COVID or all these things. But if you're presented with an idea that will, in essence, topple an entire structure of logic that your thinking is based on, that it will destroy the system you have in your mind, which will lead to immense mental and emotional pain to go, I don't know what's real anymore. Your mind wants to avoid that pain. So to do that, it attacks the quote unquote invader or the offensive thought that could lead to this chain reaction of you realizing the immense amount of lies you've been told and that you don't know what's true and you don't know what's real, which is fucking terrifying to most people. So they'll just attack that thought as a foreign invader. It's like having an allergy and your body attacking a strawberry because it thinks it's going to kill you, even though it's not, because that's how your body's learned. And like, that's what people do with ideas that are scary to them. They're just like, no, kill that idea. That's not going to go well for us.
Yeah.
You know what, though? I totally agree with you 100%. But I feel like sometimes I grew up in the 90s and I remember getting chicken pox and we didn't have running water in the house at the time. So I had to go and grab water. And I remember coming back to the house and my dad was like, oh, the lady at the house over there wants you to hang out with her son so she can get chicken pox as well. So he can be immune to it. So, and that was a thing that happened sometimes.
Yeah, they would do chicken pox parties.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like sometimes we need our ideas tested. And I feel like if you're running away from it, that makes you a very weak person. I got divorced very early in life when I was like, what, 24? Yeah. And it shattered everything I thought about in the world. I was a sobbing mess. But now when I think about it, it helped me look at people differently and not like assign predestined roles for people. And I think a lot of people need that. I think a lot of people need to, you know, if you just think that, you know, everybody's a grifter and you're the only hard worker and everybody else is on welfare and voting 3 times and stuff, maybe you need that thought process broken down so you can go, oh, everybody's out here just trying their fucking best. And we're just flailing around. We're trying. And there's very evil people out there that's manipulating us. But most people are out there just really trying.
Yeah, I agree. I think that's like coming back to like the, you know, giving everyone, which I was that generation, you know, we all got our little our little trophies. But I think I went through plenty of other crazy shit that shattered and disillusioned me.
Yeah.
But I think at the end of the day, it does help you. It is like what, a vaccine against future bullshit, because you need to understand that things are not always going to go your way. People are people. Like, yeah, we all need to go through learning experiences that are hard and difficult, which a lot of people avoid because they're hard and difficult.
Yeah.
So, like we mentioned earlier, Democrats should be encouraged by this, at least in that it gives them some sort of roadmap for pushing back against Trump, just push back against Elon Musk.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Because he is so much more unlikable than, like, Trump sucks, but it's not because he lacks personality or charisma. He's got those things, even if it's not a good version of those things.
Yeah, it's the bizarro world version of charisma.
Yeah. It's a very unpleasant charisma, but it is charisma nonetheless. Elon Musk has none of that.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though they're both completely not, at all like your average person, Trump at least feels more like your average person. Like he could talk to them, and Musk just feels like a Superman villain.
Yeah.
I think part of it is we know Trump likes to act like he's one of the richest people on the planet, but we know, like, you can look it up. We know how his businesses have gone. We know how many times he's filed bankruptcy.
Yeah.
And compared to Elon Musk, that makes him at least slightly more relatable, because Elon Musk is literally the richest man in the world. Fuck that motherfucker, just on those grounds alone. And then you get into all the shit that makes him such a dork. But also, he's just too fucking rich.
When it feels like, Trump will eat McDonald's, like it's kind of trashy.
Yeah.
Elon, I feel like, just gets nutrition injected into his veins or something weird.
Yeah.
I don't think he's used his actual stomach in a decade. Everything's just going straight to his blood stream. He doesn't look like he poops or anything. He's just
it's just mainlining ketamine for calories all day.
He still does look like an alien wearing a human suit from Men in Black.
Yeah. And he's awkward. I mean, he just does weird things. He can't find a shirt that covers his stomach when he jumps. He's out here fucking doing Nazi salutes and shit. I mean, talk about somebody who should be at least a little cool. I mean, you would think if you got that much money that there would be one thing about you that you would be like, all right, well, at least that's cool.
Yeah.
The motherfucker has spaceships and we're still like, ugh, this.
He had a baby with a pop star, and all it did was make us hate Grimes.
Yeah.
And that baby.
Now we have to watch her ask him for child support on Twitter.
Yeah.
That's, dude.
The levels are insane.
Yeah.
That is, man.
What a world.
Dude, I said this one time, but I don't anymore. I used to feel sorry for him because he's so rich that he's so far removed from everybody in every possible way. Every possible way, he's not like us. He doesn't live in a house like we do. He doesn't drive cars like we do. He doesn't look at email like we do. So I used to feel sorry for him, but then, you just saw over and over and over that he was just a bucket of turds all the time, just always doing the most stupid and most like weirdly hateful shit to somebody who none of these things are really even reaching him. None of these things would affect him at all because he's the richest person in the world. No law is going to affect him unless it's like a law that says we take 99% of your money if you're over $400 billion or something. That's the only thing that would affect him.
Well, not to bring it back, but wasn't that maybe one of the reasons that he cared about Wisconsin is they had a law that prevented Tesla from directly opening dealerships.
Oh.
And that was probably why he actually gave a shit about this, because he had tried to get around this a few times. Like they have a weird law where only third parties can open dealerships, not a direct manufacturer.
It's not that weird of a law. There's only 27 states where
I mean, I agree with the law.
Auto manufacturers can have dealerships.
It makes sense. You're not going to get a real sales pitch from a person whose only job is to sell you this one thing.
And I had that at the end of the notes. That's obviously what this is about. And that's the other thing about Elon Musk. It's so easy to see through him. This is a legitimately bad sign for Republicans, provided we still have elections by 2028. I think Wisconsin is a great example of how much of a liability Elon Musk is for Trump.
Because I think the thing is, like, at the end of the day, they're both these evil guys who want power. But Trump does want popularity. He'll lie to get it, but he really does want popularity. He really does want people to like him. That's why he'll flip-flop, because if he realizes everyone's hating him on this, he'll just say whatever, because he does really want everyone to like him. At the end of the day, I think he's got that weird deep-seated need. Elon, I do not think cares about people liking him. He wants to get his shit. Like, he wants his money. He wants to get his business. He wants to get a spaceship. He thinks having people like him is probably a necessary evil, but I don't think he really cares about it at all.
Yeah, I think that's what happens when you're worth that much money. I think that's how you look at humans. They're just things to buy your products.
I think one of the things that makes Elon Musk such a liability for Trump is I don't think Trump realizes how much of an anomaly him winning in 2024 really was. And I think Wisconsin's a great example. There's a BBC article that we'll link to where they talked to a woman named Allison Prash, who is a professor at University of Wisconsin-Madison. And she talks about how what happened in Wisconsin with the Supreme Court race could be a sign of what to expect in 2026 and 2028. And one of the things she points out, and I don't think I knew this, in 2024, Madison, Wisconsin, and Milwaukee, Wisconsin both flipped for Trump. And Madison especially is where all of the progressives in Wisconsin live. Milwaukee also. That those two cities went for Trump, that to me speaks more to progressives hating Kamala Harris.
Or just the whole Democratic Party and the bullshit that they're pulling. Because none of us voted for Kamala. They took away our chance at a Democratic convention.
Right. But I mean, same thing. Like, hate Democrat Party, hated Kamala Harris. But I think Trump, because of Elon Musk, I don't think most of those people voted for Trump, but I think some of them will go back to voting Democrat because of Elon Musk.
I think what the Democrats in general that I have not seen own is that a big part of Trump getting elected was not Trump, was not his giant regime, was not his hostile takeover, which was how they want to sell it. It was the Democrats absolutely fucking over half of their base and not doing anything, being so ineffectual and being so shitty that they lost the support of so many people. It wasn't Trump gaining support. Like, we saw that, right? Like, less people voted. Like, I almost didn't vote because I didn't want to vote for either of them. But I ended up voting for Kamala. So, as I said, I have the right to bitch about it.
Yeah.
I was doing that. But it was like, the Dems are not owning how amazingly royally they have fucked over their support. Like, they need to do anything to win it back. They need to do stuff. They can't just keep blaming Trump and fear-mongering Trump. They need to do something else.
And it also can't just be, well, attack Elon Musk instead, because eventually that'll work and Elon Musk will be gone and Trump will still be there and that ideology will still be there. And we'll have to deal with that. But Elon Musk seems like enough of a threat that we should maybe deal with him first. Like, he comes from apartheid South Africa and the part that benefited from apartheid South Africa. And it's fucking obvious that's what he wants here.
Yeah.
We got to nip this shit in the bud. And I think Wisconsin has at least signaled that a lot of Americans might be willing to vote for Trump, but I don't think as many are willing to put up with Elon Musk's bullshit.
Right. We still did not vote for Elon, no matter what.
Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. But yeah, and Sam already brought this up, but back in January, like a week before Elon Musk went on this tangent about the Wisconsin Supreme Court, Tesla filed a lawsuit to try and overturn this law that Wisconsin has in place where auto manufacturers can't own car dealerships. There's Tesla dealerships in 27 states, which leads me to believe there are approximately 23 that do not allow auto manufacturers to open dealerships, and Wisconsin is one of them. And Republicans in Wisconsin have been fighting tooth and nail to get Tesla into Wisconsin. They tried passing laws in 2017 and 2021. Neither of those left the legislature. They tried to sneak an exception for Tesla into the 2019 state budget.
Yeah, do we know if the Republicans bringing these up have gotten any contributions from us?
Oh, I'm sure they have, yeah. I haven't looked into it, but it would stand to reason. I'm sure they have. And when they tried to put it in the budget, the governor used a partial veto and just took it out. So that's what this shit is about. That's what Elon Musk is up to. It's the same thing with U.S. aid. We did a Conspiracy the Show episode about U.S. aid. U.S. aid is Elon Musk trying to get independent journalism silenced. That's all it's about. And it's not hard to suss that out when you start digging into the timing of when he started picking up that campaign. It all happened around the same time WikiLeaks released all these documents about U.S. aid funneling money to independent journalists all around the world. And they did. And the numbers that WikiLeaks was citing actually came from a Reporters Without Borders article about how independent journalism had kind of ground to a halt because U.S. aid had stopped funding these outlets. The president of El Salvador, Nayib Bukele, who we're working very close with on a lot of shit, he is of the belief that U.S. aid conspired with journalists all around the world in a global money laundering operation and has vowed to do the same thing he did for gang violence in El Salvador for white collar crime, where he's going to open this massive fucking gulag and just throw people in there forever. What is money laundering? That's a white collar crime. That motherfucker is actually saying, we're going to round up journalists. And if you need to, send them to El Salvador and we'll just keep them here.
I mean, the question, though, is like, honestly, how independent is a journalist that's getting paid? There's some point of view that the money, it's the same problem with Fox News. Like, who's paying you and what view do they want you to have? Just to maybe devil's advocate. Like, and we are talking about how the U.S. government likes to have world journalism maybe tip to how we want to be presented.
Oh, absolutely. But it doesn't mean journalists are money launderers who should be arrested. That's a way different thing. And when you're talking about the government giving money to media outlets, one of the examples we brought up on the U.S. aid episode, there's this claim out there that U.S. aid has given Politico something like $18 million, $10 million, something like that. What it actually is the government has given this amount to Politico over several years. And it's because Politico runs this subscription service that provides like up to the minute news about policy changes. A bunch of government outlets use it, journalists use it, and in some cases, a single login is $10,000. So what they're actually saying when they're saying, oh, USAID gave all this money to Politico, what's actually happening is USAID subscribed to Politico's premium content. And that is being painted as money laundering and or them somehow uplifting Politico in exchange for Politico taking their side of things. If that shit works, if they're able to say, all right, well, you were given subscription money to Politico, so Politico is now banned and should go to jail, where does that shit end? Because a lot of independent journalists rely on subscription money. I don't know who all my fucking subscription money's coming from. It could be USAID. How do I know I'm not going to get a letter someday that's like, hey, guess where some of your money was coming from? Looks like your podcast network's illegal now. Nazis have to do that kind of shit. It's not going to be easy. As excited as I am about what happened in Wisconsin, it only matters as long as Trump doesn't just pull some authoritarian shit and be like, fuck the courts. That's what happened in El Salvador. That guy just fired all the Supreme Court justices that didn't agree with him. And they were like, you can't fire us. And he was like, what are you going to do? Kick my ass? You're fired. Get the fuck out of here. Like, if Trump does that, who's going to stop him? Who's going to fucking stop him?
Well, he has done some of that, and Dems did nothing to stop it.
But he hasn't done it. Like, he hasn't straight up said, all right, the Supreme Court's fired and we're replacing them with
No, just
ours.
every other government position.
Right.
Well, he already put who he needs on the Supreme Court last time.
Yeah. But even then, John Roberts has come out when Trump said that there were judges who should be removed for not agreeing with him. John Roberts, to his credit, came out and was like, nah, bud, that's not how it works. And it's like, I hope that energy holds when it comes to the shit Trump, because it's only going to take him ignoring the court once. once he does that and nothing happens, do we fucking have a
Yeah.
court anymore?
I mean, he was also found guilty for a lot of shit by courts, and what happened
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
that?
He's
So-
president now.
Didn't he get found guilty for diddling a lady? And we just, as soon as he got elected, people were like, yeah, I mean,
Well, I mean, look, nobody cares about ladies on either side.
You know, it was a civil trial. I hate when people say that. It was a civil trial, less burden of proof. Yeah, but there's still some burden of proof.
I mean, he got elected on grabbing pussies the first time. That was not a surprise. That nobody.
and then we
cared.
had evidence that he did grab a pussy, and people were like, nah.
I do kind of credit James Comey as much with Trump winning in 2016, as much as those two like pretended to be rivals. James Comey is the one who 2 days before the election announced that the FBI was investigating Hillary Clinton, because that grab him by the pussy shit was actually having an impact on Trump's poll ratings. And then that FBI shit happened and Trump went right back up.
Oligarchy.
Yep. Good times. So yeah, this fucking Nazi clown just wants to sell Teslas in Wisconsin, and I hope it never fucking happens.
Have you been in a Tesla? They are rickety as fuck, man.
They suck, dude.
They are rickety. I like how the sensors can tell you what car is around, but that's it. I mean, I was riding around. I'm like, I think I could build a better fucking car than this. This shit sounds rickety.
Yeah, I've been in a couple.
Yeah, when they first came out, and the first time I got picked up in an Uber, that was a Tesla, and I'm like, somebody did a great bit about it. I can't take credit for it, where they're like, yeah, you know why Tesla drivers drive Uber now? Because they want to talk about how great their fucking Tesla is and all their friends are fucking over it. So they literally have to hold you captive. Happened to me where he's like, let me tell you about it. Do you want it to self-drive? And I'm like, no thanks. You don't need to test that with me in the back. Like, no, I'm good, bro. And like, you have to nod and smile because this man could kill you right now because he's driving the car you're in. It's very cult-like. It's so many of these things.
So I think that's our episode. Good job, Wisconsin. I am happy this did not go the way Republicans wanted it to go. Wasn't there a Florida election happening too?
Oh,
I mean,
God.
I was
I think
so
there's a couple because there's two. I think Republicans won those because it was filling people that were supposed to go work for Trump, right? Gates and somebody else. But I
what
think
happened with that guy?
Huh? Oh yeah, and not Gates. Went not great. I think Republican won those, but like not by much. But that's also like it's still Florida. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw something this morning. Now I can't remember where I put it.
So, yeah, I think in conclusion, I feel like Trump is going to recognize Elon Musk as a liability at some point. I hope he doesn't, kind of, because it does make for a pretty easy inroad to winning elections. Like, if they think this motherfucker is going to be the one who sells this country on going full Nazi, they got another goddamn thing coming.
Yeah.
People do not like Elon Musk to that degree. And I think Trump probably somewhere deep down sees Elon Musk as like a younger version of him, but he's not. He's not.
No.
He's just Elon Musk.
Yeah.
I mean, Trump has dropped people before for saying the wrong thing. He's like, you know what? Never mind.
So do we have any final thoughts on Elon Musk? I think we covered it, right?
Yeah, I think this was hopeful, and that some of the fear mongering from both sides that he's going to be this dictator, maybe no. Maybe we still have the power to say, no, thank you.
Yeah, I mean, right now, that's all we got to lean on is that we do still have elections right now, and they can go this way. And I don't know. We'll see.
Well, maybe that'll make people feel more hopeful to where we get more involved, because I feel like part of the thing with the last elections, we felt so hopeless that there wasn't really enough of a feeling that we could change anything. You know, when you feel hopeless, you don't participate, and then it really is hopeless. So maybe having hope will make people really try to get in there and do shit and change things.
Yeah, I definitely came out of the last election vowing to not even talk about politics on podcasts for a while. And then motherfuckers started giving Nazi salutes at CPAC and at the inauguration. And I was like, I'm not trying to be complicit either. So I guess here we are. So yeah, at least let Wisconsin give you a little bit of hope. Maybe we can fucking overcome this. And until then, I think that's our episode. Sam, Harry, thank you both so much for doing the pod.
Thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. It's always a good time.
this feels like the absolute perfect time to plug some shit. I would like you all to follow me on Blue Sky at adamtoddbrown.bsky.social. That's Todd with 1D. There is also a Blue Sky for Conspiracy the Show, for the network, You Don't Even Like Podcasts, and for You Don't Even Like Sports. Go out there and find those. I'm not going to read those long-ass fucking addresses for each one. But that's all I got for right now. Sam, what do you want to plug?
I am at Sam Sweets Like Candy on mostly Instagram, but I got to get off of it. I'm addicted. I'm on TikTok. I'm on X, but I don't really use it. I'm on OnlyFans at Only Sam's with 2 E's. And I'm doing comedy again. So I'm going to do stand-up, I think, at the Ha Ha Club on the 14th of April and at State Social House on the 28th of April.
Nice.
So yeah, look at my tits and then let me make you laugh.
Harry, what do you want to plug?
Follow me on everything. Well, I don't have X anymore. Harry J. Raleigh or Cooter Eater 2000.
What?
That's my.
Is that your OnlyFans?
No, that's my underground. That's my. Whenever people start talking shit, then Cooter Eater 2000 comes up. Because y'all don't know anything about Harry J. Raleigh.
And I think that is it. Let's get the fuck out of here. Sam, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Harry, say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody. We love you, but we hate Elon Musk.
Bristol Street.